In 1991, a 21-year-old boy joins his father's luggage business as an intern, completely unaware that within 20 years, he would lead India's biggest luggage brand, VIP, to its most profitable year ever. But why was he suddenly fired from his own company? Why was he forced to create a rival brand and burn his old company to the ground? This is India's most satisfying business revenge story. In 1971, Radhika Piramal decided to solve a problem every Indian had: carrying luggage. People used large metal trunks or wooden boxes which were heavy and inconvenient. So he introduced plastic luggage suitcases in India with VIP bags, and that changed everything. VIP suitcases were affordable and reliable, so it became India's biggest luggage brand by the 1980s, and Radhika Piramal was on top of it. But his thirst for success did not end there. In 1988, he set his eyes on a smaller luggage company named Aristocrat. So he approached a textile businessman who was also his friend, Sudhir Jatia. Together, the two split the cost 50-50 and happily bought out Aristocrat in 1988. But for Mohanlal, that happiness soon transformed into worry. He slowly had a strange realization. There was a conflict of interest. VIP and Aristocrat competed for the same customers with similar products, but Piramal was running both of them. However, he had just a 50% stake in Aristocrat, but a 100% stake in VIP. So the possibility of Piramal favoring VIP's growth over Aristocrat was very high. But Mohanlal could not get involved in Aristocrat himself. He was getting old and also had a textile business to run. That was when he tasked his 21-year-old son, Sudhir Jatia, to go and work at Aristocrat in 1991. And Sudhir's life changed forever. In the first 21 years of his life, all he had seen was a textile business run like a desi dhanda. But suddenly, he was surrounded by blue-blooded MBAs at Aristocrat and VIP. However, he quickly adapted to the situation. Soon, he learned how a big corporation works and how you deal with people. In just 2 years, he became the executive director of Aristocrat in 1993. After this, he continued protecting his family's interest in Aristocrat while both companies grew together to become even bigger. However, something unexpected happened in 2003 when life came a full circle for Sudhir. Radhika Piramal was getting older. He was now looking for someone to take over his job at VIP. That was when Sudhir got the most unexpected call. Piramal asked him to run VIP as well. That's how in 2003, Sudhir Jatia became the managing director of Aristocrat and VIP, a 33-year-old business wizard with a fire in his eyes, leading India's biggest luggage empire. But within the next 5 years, he would have to face the biggest challenge in the history of VIP. Samsonite, the world's largest luggage maker, had entered India just a few years ago with its brands like American Tourister. And by the time Sudhir became the MD, Samsonite was eating into their market share. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. In 2008, the global financial crisis swept across the world. The Indian economy saw one of its worst years in decades. At the same time, China also started flooding India with cheaper and unbranded luggage. And all of these turned into the perfect storm. 2008 was the first loss-making year in the 50-year history of VIP. And secretly, everybody had just one man to blame for it: Sudhir. But Sudhir had a crazy realization. In his heart, he knew that his strategy was absolutely correct. The balance sheet and stock price were in the red because of external factors. So he took an extremely bold step and continued with the same strategy, and the result was shocking. Once the financial storm passed in the next year, VIP's financials took a surprising turnaround. After leading the company to its first year in 2008, Sudhir Jatia delivered the best year in VIP's history in 2010. His sense of satisfaction was out of this world. He had emerged as the king of India's luggage business, but he was completely unaware that another storm was brewing, this time within his own company. Even though Sudhir was the MD, the board of directors was still led by Radhika Piramal, and in 2010, Radhika wanted Sudhir to step aside because their vision for the company did not match. He wanted his daughter Radhika Piramal to take over the company. Instead of being rewarded for VIP's best year, the company Sudhir had worked for his entire life was snatched overnight, and everyone thought it was the end of Sudhir Jatia's love affair with luggage. However, Sudhir had other plans in his mind. He was down but not broken. The fire in his belly and love for luggage were far from over, and luck played a mighty game in his favor. He was approached to buy a small luggage brand that sold mostly in army canteens, Safari. Compared to VIP, Safari was like a tiny ant with a market share of just 2% and 1/10 the sales of VIP. Two of its 3 founding brothers were fighting a medical condition, losing 80% of their eyesight. So they were looking to sell their company to the right man. That was when Sudhir Jatia took the biggest bet of his life. Using all his money and then some more, he bought 77% of Safari for 60 crore rupees. People called him crazy for burning his money. He was putting 60 crores in a company whose annual profits were less than 3 crores. But in his heart, Sudhir knew exactly what he was doing. And that's how Sudhir started his second innings from scratch. Now a big question here is, as you grow from lakhs to crores like VIP did, how do you manage the leads and chaos? Well, that's where Odoo CRM can help you. It's a management software that can help with multiple activities like invoicing, accounting, inventory, leads and more. On the CRM dashboard, you can easily create a pipeline and set up stages. These can indicate the different milestones in your sales cycle. Each opportunity is listed as a card with all its information like contact details, priority level, expected revenue and more. You can even drag and drop them as they move in the sales cycle. But that's not all. An interested customer can contact you by email or your site created with Odoo, and a new opportunity card is automatically created. From the same window, you can take multiple actions for it, like scheduling calls, meetings, emails and quotations. But that's not even the best part. All exchanges, internal or external, take place from a single place, the chat. So you have easy access to chat history at any time. But this is where it gets truly interesting. You can create your quotes in a few clicks directly from your opportunity, and your customers' data will be automatically filled in. You can add products to your quote and send it to your customer for signature, who can accept and pay for it from the portal itself. So with Odoo CRM, you can save your time and improve your management. You can use your first Odoo app for free with unlimited hosting and support. So check out Odoo CRM by using the link in the description. Now Sudhir's strategy with Safari was much more unique. VIP targeted the sub-premium and premium segments which were expensive, but Safari decided to make luggage for the masses. Luggage that was not cheap but affordable, yet offered better value and quality than its competitors. But when he looked at the company he had just bought, he was shocked. Almost all of Safari's sales were coming from army canteens, and their product quality was terrible. He was clear that if the product is not good, no amount of marketing or distribution could grow the company. So he became obsessed with improving their quality. Immediately he took a crazy decision. He shut down Safari's entire after-sales repair network. If a luggage bag was damaged within the warranty period, Safari would replace it with a brand new bag for free instead of a replacement. Everyone thought it was a stupid idea, but Sudhir had a different perspective. Since he removed the safety net of repairs, the luggage quality had to be good or else the company would do losses. He forced Safari to improve the quality. There was one more benefit. He did not have to spend on luggage repairmen's networks across cities, which saved a lot of money. But he was a Marwari who was strictly against losses. So all of this was done with a strict efficiency to keep the costs low. And once the quality was sorted, he decided to fight directly with his former company, VIP. He knew he had to go beyond army canteens to grow big, but the way he did it was absolutely genius. He decided to take down the competition battle by battle. He would pick up each distribution channel and then put all his resources into that channel to starve the competition. First, he started with hypermarket chains like Big Bazaar in 2013. So he would hire the best salesmen, try to get the most visibility in the stores and spend the most there on advertising and banners. And it worked. Safari quickly became a formidable player in hypermarkets. But then he put hypermarket spends on maintenance and moved on to the next challenge. In the late 2000s, e-commerce had just arrived. Brands were still learning how it worked, but VIP had been extremely scared of it. Selling and shipping such large luggage bags online sounded crazy. However, Sudhir did what VIP couldn't even dream of doing. He approached Flipkart and Amazon to form executive partnerships and started selling luggage online. And once again, he used the same strategy. He started putting all his money and resources into e-commerce. He spent aggressively on ads and even offered huge discounts to boost Safari's sales. And nobody could believe the results. E-commerce became so big for Safari that soon it was bringing 30% of their entire sales. VIP and Samsonite saw this and tried to join the party. But by then it was already too late. Safari was dominating e-commerce. After hypermarkets and e-commerce stores, Sudhir shifted focus to retail stores and exclusive brand outlets. And something amazing happened. By 2019, VIP was losing market share to Safari for the 5th straight year. Safari's market share had increased from just 2% to 17%. But just when Sudhir thought Safari was having the best time ever, an unexpected tragedy hit the world. COVID arrived and the lockdown followed it. Most of the luggage sales in India happened for two reasons: weddings and travel. During the lockdown, both of them were down to zero, so the entire industry suffered. But Sudhir was in a much worse situation. Safari's balance sheet was the weakest of all players. Both VIP and Samsonite were sitting on extra cash while Safari was in debt of 80 crores. With zero revenue, how was he going to pay the salaries? The only logical option was layoffs. But that did not feel right to him. So he did something extremely bold instead. He drew a housing loan of 10 crores and asked other investors to put in 40 crores. layoffs. Along with that, he also took a 100% salary cut, and now he had enough money to last for 9 months. Even if the revenue was zero, in the next few weeks, he would send out 2 emails to all his employees that would change the fate of Safari forever. The first email was sent shortly after the first lockdown in March 2020. Mass layoffs and salary cuts were happening everywhere. The employees opened that email fearing the same fate, but they couldn't believe what they read. Safari promised not to lay off anyone and not to reduce a single rupee of anyone's salary. But Sudhir did not stop there. Competitors defaulted on payments to vendors and suppliers, even lawfully terminating their contract. But Sudhir paid every single one of them the full amount without any renegotiations. He even started making investments because everything was super cheap. He leased out a prime shop at the Delhi Terminal 3 airport, which was almost dead back then. In normal times, Safari could never convince them to give a budget brand like them a spot at the airport, that too at a discount. But Sameer was not doing all of this because he was an emotional fool. He knew that the situation was bad today, but it will definitely improve someday. However, just as things were getting better, the second wave arrived in April 2021, which was much more severe and deadly. And that was when Sudhir sent out the second email. Safari would cover the COVID expenses of all of its 3,800 employees and their families, including vaccines, hospitalization, anything, no questions asked. Once again, he paid all the suppliers and vendors the full amounts as promised. And everyone thought Sudhir had lost his mind. With no revenue in sight, he was giving away money like charity. But Sudhir understood something that others did not: the value of investing in relationships. Because as soon as COVID was over, things took a surprising turn. After the lockdown, the luggage demand was suddenly the highest India had ever seen, and nobody was prepared. Suddenly, the suppliers became rude and the supply became low. But in the past 1 year, all major players had burned their bridges with the suppliers, defaulting on payments and forcefully renegotiating contracts. They also did not have enough employees to handle the demand. But there was one exception: Safari Industries, led by Sudhir Jatia. Suppliers absolutely loved him because he was the only one who did not turn his back in the toughest times. But that was not all. The emotional ownership of the company had now shifted to Sudhir's employees. Safari was not just an employer anymore, it was their company, the one who did not let them go in the toughest of times. And then the magic unfolded. Employees, vendors, suppliers, Safari suddenly became everyone's favorite. While others struggled to meet the demand, Sudhir encashed all his goodwill and Safari's sales skyrocketed. In just 2 years, they went from 600 crores to 2,000 crores in sales. Because Sudhir remembered what everyone else forgot: the power of human trust and personal connections in doing business. In the end, VIP got the control that they wanted but paid the ultimate price. Safari is worth 3 times more than VIP today, while Sudhir made a 200x return on his investment of 60 crores. Safari is the fastest growing luggage company in India today. But for VIP, that's not even the worst part. All of it wasn't even worth it for the Piramal family, as their daughter Radhika did not continue and left the position in 2017. No one from the family now wants to continue their business. In 2024, it was reported that they were looking to sell the entire company. They don't have a suitable, interested successor. The moral of this story: non-compete agreements can be very important. Follow me on Instagram for amazing reels. The link is in the description. If you liked this video, I recommend watching this one next. Until I see you in the next video, goodbye.